This clip's going to be on the major chords, the basic beginner major chords that you're going to need to know to be able to play the songs you want to play. We're going to start off with a C chord. It's real basic. It's a C major. And what you're going to do, go ahead and bring the camera in real close. There we go. You're going to put your first finger on the first fret of the second string. You're going to put your second finger on the second fret of the fourth string, the D string. You put your third finger on the third fret of the A string or the fifth string, and there's your C major chord. Now sometimes you can take your pinky, you can stick your pinky right there where your ring finger was and put that one over there, and it's going to look like that. But the normal position is going to be like this: 3, 2, 1. Okay, the next one is a G major. The G major is going to look like this. We're doing all these in first position or open position. So what you're going to do is you're going to put your first finger is going to be on the second fret of the A string. Your second finger, your middle finger, is going to be on the third fret of the E string, the low E string. And then your third finger, your ring finger, is going to be way up here. You can either put it on just the E string on the third fret, or you can take it and you can bar it and put it over the two, the B string and the E string. Just the G, the two of them. Okay, so you got a C chord to a G chord. The next chord you're going to need to know is a D major chord. D major chord is going to look like this. Okay, and what we're going to do is we're going to put our first finger on the second fret of the G string. We're going to put our second finger, the middle finger, on the second fret of the top E string, first string, and we're going to put our third finger on the third fret of the second string, the B string. That's our D chord, D major. The next chord you need to know is an A chord, an A major chord. Now some people play these where they're going to take all three of their fingers and put them in like this. But what I do, because my hands are kind of larger, I just use a single finger, and I put my first finger, I'm going to bar it over the fourth string, the D string, the G string, and the B string. So as you can see, I've got it barred over these three strings right here. If I can see them right there. Just those three. Now if you can't bar it, you can take your three fingers and stick them right in there. And do it that way as well. See if I can get you so you can kind of see it a little bit. There we go. So I'm covering second fret, D string, second fret, G string, second fret, B string. But again, I just use my first finger. Next chord you're going to need to know is an E chord, an E major chord. E major chord is going to look like this. And how we're going to play this is our first finger is going to be on the first fret of the G string, or the third string. My second finger, my middle finger, is going to be on the second fret of the A string, or the fifth string. And my third finger, the ring finger, is going to be on the second fret of the D string or the fourth string. That's an E major chord. The next chord you're going to need to know is a B major chord. Now this is a little tougher. There's no real easy position to play with the B major, but I'll give them both to you. I use a B bar chord. It's going to look like this. So what I'm doing is I'm going to play my first finger is going to be on the second fret of the A string, right here. And my third finger is going to cover the the fourth, the third, and the second string on the fourth fret right there. It's going to sound like this. That's a B chord, B major chord. Now sometimes when you're just starting out in guitar, it's a little tough. It's too hard to push down this way. So there's another one you can do, and it's going to look like this. And what I'm doing here is just, you can kind of see, I'm going to put my first finger on the first fret of the D string or the fourth string. My second finger is going to be on the second fret of the A string or the fifth string. And my third finger is going to be on the second fret of the G string. And I'm just going to play those middle tones, middle strings. So there's my B using the bar. There's my B using the open position. And that's a B major chord. Okay, the next chord you're going to need to know is an F sharp major chord, or sometimes they call it a G flat. It's the same thing. And there's two ways you can do it. I'll give you the easy way first. The first way is we're going to put our first finger on the second fret of the E string. We're going to put our second finger on the third fret of the G string, which is this third string. I'm going to put my third finger, ring finger, on the fourth fret of the A string. My pinky's going to be right next to it. It's going to be on the fourth fret of the D string. And then I'm only going to strike those 4 strings with the pick. That's an F sharp. Now, a full F sharp is just taking this index finger here and barring it over, and then I can use all the strings if I want. Okay, or if I don't have enough strength to do that, at least after I put these down, I can just push this finger right here on that second fret of the E string and just hit the first 4 strings. And that's an F sharp major chord. Okay, the next major chord you're going to need to know is a D flat or a C sharp chord. Same thing. And probably the best way to do this one, because this is one of those tougher ones, you're not going to use it very often, but it's going to be based off the 4th fret. It's just kind of like the B chord. We're going to go up here to the 4th fret. We're going to hit our first finger on the 4th fret of the A string or the 5th string, and then we're going to take our ring finger, right here, we're going to skip a fret up to the 6th fret. We're going to cover the 4th, 3rd, and 2nd string, and that's going to be I've actually seen people take this middle finger and roll it over here and help this finger with the push down, because sometimes it's a little hard when you're first starting out. Okay, the other way to do it is to take these 3 fingers and place them over those strings, and take this finger and put it on that 4th fret. Oops. My fingers are so big they can barely fit in there to do it. But what you're doing is you got 4th, and then 6th, 6th, and 6th. And there's our... Now, the G flat, F sharp, the D flat, C sharp, these are tough chords, and these aren't ones you're going to normally use very often. That's going to bring us now to the A flat chord. An A flat chord, there's a couple ways you can do it. A real simple way to do it is, I remember I taught you the A chord looks like this. Well, you just go down a fret, and there's an A flat. Now, as long as I only strike those 3 strings, I can do that. That's an A flat. And all I'm doing is covering the G string, the D string, the G string, the B string on the first fret. Okay. The other way you can do it is you can come up here, you can put your first finger on the 4th fret, that's an A flat note, 4th fret of my E string, and then you're going to build kind of an E position pattern from there. I'm going to take my middle finger and put it on the 5th fret of the G string. I'm going to take my ring finger and put it on the 6th fret of the A string. My pinky's going to go on the 6th fret of the D string. So as it looks like I'm not barring anything, but as you can tell, it's going to be, here's my A flat chord. Now if you have some strength, you can take this finger and you can bar it, and there's your full barred A flat chord. Okay, but if you can't do that with the strength wise, just make sure that you got this single tone right here, because this is your most, these 3 notes really are your most important notes of the chord. Okay, and that's an A flat. That's going to bring us up to an E flat chord. The next chord you need to know is an E flat major chord. An E flat major chord is, well, let's see. A quick, easy way to do one is I taught you the D chord, which looks like this on the 2nd fret. Well, an E flat chord is just the same position, but it's up 1 fret. So here we go. If I want, I can take my pinky and stick that down right there. There's an E flat chord. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to play that same D position like we did on the 2nd fret, but I'm going to raise it up to the 3rd fret. So my first finger is going to be on the 3rd fret of the G string. My second finger is going to be on the 3rd fret of the E string. And my 3rd finger is going to be on the 4th fret of the B string. And I can just hit those 3 notes. That's an E flat. Now if I want to get a 4th note in there, I can take my pinky and I can add the pinky onto the 5th fret of the D string, and now I've got 4 more E flat chords. I know it's kind of hard to see like that. If I can give you a better angle. There we go. Okay. So it's just a D position, but it's not on the 2nd fret, it's on the 3rd fret. Okay? The other way to do it is you can do a bar chord. You can take your first finger and you can put it up here on the 6th fret of your A string. I'm going to skip a fret and I'm going to skip a finger, and then with my ring finger, my 3rd finger, I'm going to cover the D string, G string, and B string on the 8th fret, 6 and 8. And there's my E flat chord. Now if you have a lot of strength, you can take this finger and you can bar the whole thing. That way you can play all the strings. You don't have the strength to do it right now. Just bar that 6th fret of the A string, and then the 8th fret of the D, G, and B string. E flat. Okay, that's going to bring us to the B flat chord, the B flat major chord. B flat major chord is a chord you're going to be playing a lot, and it is a tough chord to play as a beginner. Probably the easiest position is going to be your first finger on the E string, 1st fret. I'm going to take my ring finger and pinky. I'm going to put it on the 3rd fret of the G string and the B string. And that's a B flat chord. That's the easiest position to do. If I have some strength, I can take this finger and just cover those 3 like that. Okay. And a real B flat chord is I'm going to take my my index finger. This is the toughest one because it's all the way down here on the 1st fret of your A string. And then I'm going to take my ring finger and I'm going to cover the 3rd fret of the D, G, and B string. And here's our B flat chord. I can get that middle finger out of the way so you can see it. Now if you have some strength, you can take this finger and you just bar the whole thing like that. That's the full B flat chord. Okay. You can also do a B flat chord by using that position I taught you earlier, where you're going to use your first finger on the 6th fret, your 2nd finger on the 7th fret of the G string, my 3rd finger on the 8th fret of the A string, and my pinky is going to be on the 8th fret of the D string. And that's where you can do it where you don't have to bar it. See, I'm not barring at all. Each finger gets a string. So 6 on the E, 8 on the A, 8 on the A, and 7 on the G. That's a B flat. Now if I have some strength, I can take this finger right here, I can bar it all the way down over, and I can play all the strings of the guitar. And that's a B flat chord. That's going to bring us to our last chord, last major chord. It's going to be an F major chord. You're going to play this a lot. This is could be a hard chord. I'll give you the simplest position first. You're going to take your first finger, and this is probably going to be the very first bar chord you're going to do because you only have to bar 2 strings. And what you're going to do is you're going to take that first finger and you're going to put it over the B and the E string right there. I'm going to take my 2nd finger and I'm going to place it on the 2nd fret of the G string, and I'm going to take my 3rd finger and place it on the 3rd fret of the D string, and there's my F chord. There's an F. Now if I want, I can take this finger and I can bar the whole thing. So I'll give you the 2nd position. Let's do the 2nd position first for F. Take our first finger, we're going to put it on the 1st fret of the E string. We're going to take our 3rd finger, put it on the 3rd fret of the A string. Our pinky is going to be on the 3rd fret of the D string, and our middle finger is going to be on the 2nd fret of the G string, and that's going to be a full F chord. But as you can tell, I'm not barring anything yet. Each finger gets a string. If I have some strength, I can take this first finger and I can bar it all over the whole thing. That way I can use all the strings of the guitar. But if I don't have the strength to do that, I'm going to have to use this finger per string method, where it's just the 1 on the E, 3 on the A, 3 on the D, 2 on the G. It's kind of a cool sound if I hit all of them, the open key. Okay, so we're going to back up a little bit. Alright, so basically what we just did was we kind of went over the 12 basic chords, major chords that you're going to need to know to play the songs that you want.